Hi, this is Andrew Berman from NMP, and you're watching an MNN exclusive. With me, I've got the Quicken Loans Mortgage Services, QLMS Executive Vice President, my good buddy, Austin Niemiec. Austin, thank you so much for joining us.
Berman, it's always a pleasure. What a shirt, too. What a beautiful shirt.
Right?
Beautiful shirt. You wear it well, my friend.
This is, and listen, I've got this. I've got your new version, too, which is even looks even cooler.
That's red.
But this is today. Like, this is like, as an industry, we are going to be stronger together. We're going to work together to do whatever we can. We got to help our borrowers. So borrowers are going to get, they're going to, no question about it, they're going to hit defaults. They're going to come to us as actually mortgage professionals for advice, for guidance. And I just want to know, like, listen, like right off the bat. So if you're an originator out there, I mean, probably right now you're dealing with a lot of great things because there's a ridiculous amount of volume that's been happening. You know, your month of March should have been just phenomenal. Is it, even as we're going into a pause phase from some standards. But what should the messaging be out there that mortgage brokers should be sharing with their community?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, it's a very, very unique time, Andrew. And I think that the first thing we need to do as business pros is be aware of what's going on. I think we all are. When you think about human beings, there are two things that most care about above all else. And it's one, the health of them and their family, and then their financial health as well. And both things right now at the same time are there's a lot of uncertainty, put it that way, between, you look at your 401k, or your stocks, obviously everything that's going on with the virus. So being aware that it's a very sensitive time and we have to have empathy. But that being said, the message that brokers should send is one of, it's going to be okay. I mean, the beautiful thing about being a broker and being a loan officer is you're talking to American families all day long. And they need to know it's going to be, I mean, the human race is resilient. We're going to get through this. The United States of America is incredibly resilient. We get through things like this. And the mortgage industry is resilient. We've been through a lot, and you have to adapt, you have to adjust, but everything's going to be okay. And I think, Andrew, that's why leadership right now, it's so important. I mean, whether you're leading your kids as a parent, or you're leading your LOs as a broker owner, you're leading your clients as an LO, like, leadership needs to let people know it's going to be okay. And the second thing I would say is, and I've been sharing this quote with a lot of people lately. I was born in 1986. You were either a Sesame Street guy or a Mr. Rogers guy back then. I've been sharing a Mr. Rogers quote because I loved him. And he said that when I was a kid and I would watch and see scary things on TV, my mother would tell me, look for the helpers. There's always people helping. And I know that's a little sappy, but loan officers right now have a very unique opportunity to really, really, really help America. To your point, I mean, people are losing jobs. You know, their 401ks are going down, but at the same time, rates are at a historic low, and the government's trying to keep it that way. And so we, as loan officers, as brokers, as mortgage lenders, we can legitimately help people in a time of need, which I think, to your point earlier, people are rallying, and there's a lot of pride in being a loan officer right now. So everything's going to be okay. And loan officers, focus, dial in, because what we do right now really, really matters.
All right. So first off, I completely disagree with you. I think actually you're very off. I like Sesame Street and Mr. Rogers. Okay. So I'm just, you know, but I mean, listen, your message is right on. You know, this is the time to lead. It's, you know, and speaking about leading, you know, we got to talk about actually, you know, your leader, your fearless leader 2 months ago, like when probably everyone said he was crazy, to be able to start to put together the measures in place so you can be like without a hitch. Talk a little bit about that, because we were talking about it the other day, and talk to us about what Quicken did to prepare its 20,000 employees plus the 10,000 employees for all other affiliated businesses.
Yeah.
It was just an insane story that made me just like, I listened and I'm like, this is awesome. There's a lesson in business there.
Yeah, I learned a lot from it. I did. So we have what's called our Z team, which is our senior leadership, and we meet bi-weekly and just talk about the state of our business. And I think at the end of December, our CEO, Jay Farner, we spent an hour talking about the virus in in January, like the end of January, and saying, hey, listen, like we have to get ahead of this. You never know if it gets to America, like you just never know. And there's two things we need to focus on. We got to take care of the health and well-being of our team members, and we got to make sure we're prepared to take care of our partners and our clients' business. So with those two things in mind, we got to be prepared for this thing. And to your point, a lot of people are just scratching their head. But when I say prepared, I mean prepared. So we put together a task force in late January where we essentially did inventory on every single team member. Do they have ability to work from home? If they do, what does it look like? And if they don't, we started rapidly buying equipment and shipping it out. And then about 3 weeks ago, we started really testing our capability in large groups. So all of operations working from home one day, and then all of sales working from home one day, and then the entire company, again, testing this out before it became reality. And we were able to iron out a lot of bugs and be prepared. And then, when it came time to make the decision, it was easy because we'd already done it. And so we're proud. I mean, I think we were one of the first large companies in America to have everyone work from home, 97% of our company working from home. And I think just being ultra conservative and prepared, it made the transition easy. So to your point, I learned a lot watching that happen, and it's helped.
So now, though, how did you actually not say, "Are you bat-proof crazy?" Because really, in January, there's very few people that were talking about this, and that were even aware actually that this could potentially become a problem that will come to the United States. So, what is actually the mindset actually with the Z team, and as the Z team, as you had to share it with actually all your division heads and the rest of the company, what was the reaction?
Well, I think, at Quicken Loans, we have a big responsibility. If we are lucky enough to own and lead a lot of the city of Detroit, from residential space, from commercial space. And so it's not only just our company, it's the city. And so, again, not to sound corny, but you got to be prepared when you have that much responsibility. And so you're right, it was unique talking to members about it in early February. You don't want to scare people, but just to say, listen, we've been at this for 35 years. We know that being prepared, there's nothing wrong with being ultra prepared, and it can't hurt to make sure that we are, as an entire company, we can work from home full speed. Hopefully this thing blows over and we don't have to leverage everyone working from home. But if it does, you better best believe we'll be ready to go and serve our partners and serve our clients. And, unfortunately that was the case where, the virus got to that point where folks are working from home now. But at the end of the day, we were prepared. Our business didn't skip a beat. Our partners can tell our turn times are as fast as they've ever been. And again, protect our team members and protect our partners' business. And again, I'm proud we were able to do that. Again, anyone watching, it's just ultra prepared when it comes to those two things. You can't lose.
So what's something that you maybe weren't prepared for? Is there any part of the business that you were like, oh no, we didn't factor that in? There's what's that? What is that? I mean, there has to be something.
I mean, I think once we were all settled in, I'll give you a story where, okay, all of our AEs are rolling, our underwriters are rolling, our ops team's rolling. Oh shoot, a week and a half from now, we've hired 50 new account executives. What are we going to do there? And so we quickly shipped all equipment to all of them, phones to all of them. We rallied our training team and said, hey, we're going to do this thing virtually. We're not going to leave these folks a month or two without a job, right? And so rock and roll. It's Monday was our kickoff. I got to meet the group virtually, and I've been popping in on the trainings, and I will tell you, they are engaged, interactive. So yeah, we have 50 new account executives that haven't stepped foot into Quicken Loans, but are already almost a week in, and they're fired up. That was probably the biggest thing where you're like, oh boy, we got to move fast.
Wow. So hold on. I mean, let's not skip over that. So 15 new account executives. So
50. Yeah, 50.
So listen, I'm this is just insane, because when we talked in December, you basically doubled your partner network in 2019. So like talk to us, like, how's that partner growth going? Like, because if you're hiring 50 new account executives, and I'm assuming you didn't just get rid of 50 less than perfect account executives, so you're just growing the team. Talk to us about the partner growth, because that is exciting.
Yeah, our partner growth, it's been humbling. Last year we talked last time, we doubled our partner growth. We went from about 3,000 to 6,000 partners. And we're on track to do significant. In fact, over the last week, we had our biggest week ever. We approved 201 week new broker partners. And I think what's going on is, the community right now, there's a lot going on, obviously, in the broker industry and the mortgage industry in general. And I think that brokers are starting to realize that having choice, we talk about this all the time, Andrew. I believe that a broker's best move and their superpower is to have choice, period. Yeah. That's the beauty of a broker, is you can sign up with all of these well-capitalized, strong companies and lenders, many of them, and I would advise sign up with all of them, and then pick and choose who's operating at the best level and who deserves the business. And unfortunately, I think that there's been some lenders and some associations that have said, hey, do the opposite, right? Limit your choice, only pick a few. There's good lenders and there's bad. And I think right now, Andrew, as we're going through some things in this industry, lenders are hitting capacity. Some lenders are pricing themselves out. Some lenders are pricing well. Things are changing rapidly. I think the brokers that have realized, man, I partnered up with all of these great lenders. I haven't burnt bridges. They're moving fast. And you have other folks that have maybe partnered with one or two that are realizing that choice is a broker's superpower, and having all of these liquid options that you can go and leverage when things get tough is super important. And so I bring that up because, especially over the last week, we've had a flood of brokers call us to say, hey, we would love to partner with you guys. And this is a very long-winded answer and so we had to continue to make sure we're hiring. And so we've taken our approval team, and over the last 14 days, we doubled the size of it. We've added more resource because of the amount of brokers calling in. We've also extended our hours of operation for our partner approval team. And so we're approving partners in 24 hours, a commitment from phone call, hello, to I can register loans within 24 hours because of the demand we have right now. And so we're going to serve the broker community. And again, 200 approvals, new partners joined us last week alone. It's an all-time record. So it's going well. It's going well.
Yeah. But by the way, like I quote you on a regular basis. The options are a mortgage broker's big superpower.
Choice and optionality.
Yeah. I agree with you 100%. It's you sign up with as many as you possibly can, because you never know, actually, from a pricing, from an underwriting standpoint, or product changes, so many things actually to do. And the best thing you can do is be prepared, not just relying on just a small group of lenders. So that's
you
fantastic.
Hear the term, like you hear liquidity, like that's the buzzword in the industry, liquidity. I view it in a way as a broker, the way you as a broker have liquidity is, again, signing up with all of the best lenders, the strong lenders across America, building great relationships with them, and then you as a broker, you choose and you hold us accountable. Our turn times better be great, and our technology better be great, and our pricing better be great. And if it's not, you choose, broker. Don't let an association or a lender choose or tell you who to choose. It's choice, optionality, your superpower. And I think people, especially right now, are seeing that.
That's great. So listen, I want to go personal with you.
Yeah.
What actually has this done for you personally? Like, as far as the pause that we're going through, like, talk to us a little about your home life. Like, are you throughout the day? Are you spending time with your two sons, right?
Yeah.
And your wife. I'm like, what's the day of Austin Niemiec look like?
So it has changed a lot. I will tell you that. I typically I'm leaving the house at 5:30 a.m. I got a 45-minute drive into the city, and then typically I'm not getting home till 8 or 9 o'clock. And so being home all day, it's allowed me to be more. When I wake up, I'm not driving. I'm going right into the office and working. But It has been. I mean, there's been some silver linings here, Andrew. I'm eating dinner with a family. I have a 5-month-old son and a 3-year-old son. I think they're starting to understand what liquidity and what are going on with rates. Well, Dad, what's the APR today? I'm like, oh my goodness. So they're learning the industry, but it's really cool to be able to pop down and eat lunch. I mean, I don't think I've ever in a weekday eaten lunch with my kids and being able to take quick 10-minute breaks. So, and then going outside, I was telling you earlier, it's like, man, everyone's in quarantine, but I've never seen more people outside with us hanging out. I mean, it's cool to see, listen, with the flow of information going on and adapting and making sure we're there for our partners and making the right decisions right now. I mean, I'm still dialed in all day, every day, probably more than ever. But again, quick 15, 20-minute pop in and out and being able to spend time with the family is incredible. The other thing too is I'm a guy that if my account executives are watching this, I'm a proponent of folks coming into the office. I think that a team, there's a lot of camaraderie and learning, being together, being in the same office, huddling up, sharing best practices, feeding off each other's emotion. And so I'm always hesitant to have folks work from home, but man, I couldn't be more proud of our team. I'm looking at our effort on a daily basis. I'm looking at our turn times on a daily basis. We have visibility on a lot of stuff, and it blows my mind how efficient and how focused our team members are right now from home. And so I'm learning that business can be ran efficiently anywhere as well.
It's fantastic, man. Yeah, it's the things actually that we are doing differently, and in many cases doing better than we were doing before, is just phenomenal. I think this, at the end of this, we're going to find that we are going to be more productive. We're going to be able to do things in ways that we never thought we were going to be able to do, and we'll have actually some positive things that are going to come out of this, like digital mortgages, like getting rid of the piles of paper and all the unnecessary stuff that bogs down a lot of our process. So, Austin,
I told my wife last night, I said, I could see myself having a conversation with my youngest son, Van, like 10 years from now, saying, buddy, we used to drive into the city and get into buildings and go into work. Can you imagine that world? I don't think that's really going to happen, but as you watch the world operate virtually, you never know.
It's 100%. I agree. It just and maybe it plays eventually where the co-working space becomes more of a thing. There is also something to be said about still the overhearing things. So while I agree 100% the efficiencies that we've been able to create by working virtually, has shown that we can be less dependent on physically going into the office. But at some point,
dependent is the perfect word. We're realizing that it's giving us confidence as a company, and our brokers as well. To watch brokers adapt has been incredible. Like just talking, hey, where are you sitting right now? I'm sitting on my couch. I'm sitting and watch brokers, watch our team members adapt and work together. To your point, it gives you optionality that no matter whether it's weather, whatever it is, we're not dependent on that building. But I agree. You can't replace that human interaction.
So you talk about brokers and about obviously your growth as QLMS, so overall brokers we've just seen like this. We've just been going up and growing and growing and growing. Do you think this and it's very difficult to tell, but no one actually the leader that you guys are, I'm sure you're having conversations. You basically predicted the pandemic having actually the impact that it was going to have on the mortgage business. Do you feel actually that this can help or hinder the long-term growth of the mortgage broker channel?
Oh, I don't think it'll hinder it at all, period. Like I said earlier, as the market is going through a tough time right now, clearly rates are low. And so there is a tremendous amount of American families that can benefit from a refinance of their mortgage for sure. Obviously, purchases have slowed down a little bit, but as the broker community is growing, there is so much opportunity to continue to grow because of the interest rate environment. And again, second advantage, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but the second big advantage of a broker is they have these options. Meaning if you're a loan officer for a bank and whatever reason, maybe the bank has to slow down because of the market climate, then that loan officer at that bank, it is what it is. They don't have optionality. Whereas a broker, as long as they've partnered with multiple strong lenders, as lenders kind of come in and out of the market and get capped with capacity while others don't, they're going to be able to run just as fast, if not faster than everyone else, because they're liquid and they're well leveraged. And so again, I think that brokers are in a fantastic spot. In fact, they have an advantage over most folks because of those relationships and optionality. And the environment, the interest rate environment is incredible. And obviously Americans need to save money right now, and we're in the position we can help. So I don't see any impact here, that's different than other types of lending. In fact, I think brokers are well positioned.
Yeah, I mean, broker, I always look at a broker is like the destroyer in the naval fleet. The aircraft carrier is the big mortgage banker. They have to figure out what they're doing 2 months ahead, and because they can't just quickly go. Like a broker can move like that, and they can quickly move within actually the market to reposition themselves. And we know actually that the brokers were very, very easily able to transition to a work from home, those who aren't already working from home. So I think actually this model could potentially show that during actually this potential new norm, and as we're dealing with this work from home environment, the broker could be even stronger in this place.
And to use your analogy, Berman, you mentioned like the aircraft carrier and the naval fleet, and I think those two are as strong as each other are. You know what I mean? They both have their advantages, and working together.
Yes.
And again, not to be corny, but your shirt says stronger together.
Yes.
I mean, listen, we have a retail, and sometimes our competitors try to beat us up. The fact we have a retail team, but our retail team has been building for 35 years, technology, infrastructure, capital, and we're well capitalized. And I think brokers, I know brokers, because they're telling me every day, are seeing how we're operating right now, from a turn time, from interest rates, we're humming. And it's because of that infrastructure we built out, and we're well capitalized. And I think that to your analogy, it's a beautiful relationship. The relationship we have with our broker partners, our team on the retail side, leaning on each other's strengths. And we're seeing that right now. It's why brokers we're signing up more brokers than we ever have before right now, because folks, they've understood that for a long time, but are understanding that even at an even greater clip,
Yeah. Fantastic, man. So listen, I'm going to wrap this up. I really appreciate.
What about you, man? How has this working from home changed affected you personally? You spending more time?
Well, so I'm spending more time working. Like that right off the bat, I'm putting more hours in actually while working, like actual really working. I'm having a lot more meetings, and a lot more of our meetings are face to face, virtual belly to belly, and I'm having just more meaningful conversations because we're also talking about things, because I hear actually dogs barking in the background, so we start having conversations, and so it's a friend of mine, I know I've introduced you to Jay Duran, actually says like social distancing has brought us together. So it's a good it's an amazing thing actually how these technologies have allowed me personally to connect deeper with my family. Like you said, we're having dinners, we're having lunch. My wife has just made lunch really quick. I mean, they're great things. I'm interacting with my kids on a regular basis. They're making me cakes, and it's really there's a lot of positive things that are coming out of this horrible thing that we're going through. But man, the positive things are just beautiful.
Yeah. And if you don't mind, I would just, for our partners watching, and even for our team members watching, it's been unbelievable. Again, I mentioned that now is a time where our jobs are always important as loan officers. you know, seeing Americans, you know, some of their family members lose jobs or have uncertainty or their investments go down, for us to be able to get in there and save 80, 120, 150, $200 for families across the country is incredible. And I am seeing our partners and our team members more focused and taking their job more seriously and dialed in ever before. You guys are making an impact. You really are making an impact on this country. So thank you guys. Let's continue to be dialed in and work hard together. We'll get
Fantastic.
you okay.
Yep, certainly will. All right. Thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate it. And I'm Andrew Berman from NNP. Thanks for watching.